Okay, in today's video, we're going to talk about what happened in 2020 with foreclosures, why they were stopped, how they were stopped on a state and federal level, and I'm going to show you examples of what happened. Not to mention, we're going to go over some numbers, and I'm going to show you why I'm a firm believer that the number of foreclosures are going to skyrocket in 2021. It's inevitable, it's going to happen, and after today's video, you're going to know exactly why. So let's jump right into it. These are the Florida executive orders that halted or stopped all foreclosure proceedings from April 2020 to October of 2020. Basically the very beginning of April to the very beginning of October. So 6 full months, no foreclosures were going through actually the entire state of Florida. All right, the very first order that stopped foreclosure proceedings was Executive Order 20-94, and it was signed on April 2nd of 2020 by Florida Governor DeSantis. And this is what it looked like, actually in color, with the, I'm sure that's the governor's stamp seal and his stamp signature, but that's the actual Executive Order 20-94 that jump-started the foreclosure stoppage in Florida. And basically what it did was it stopped all foreclosures for 45 days until May 17th of 2020. So that wasn't long enough. So Executive Order 20-121 was signed, and it extended the order basically to June 2nd of 2020. And of course that wasn't long enough. So Executive Order 20-137 came out and was signed, and it extended the previous orders until July 1st of 2020. So now we've gone from starting in April 2nd for 45 days, now we're gone through July 1st with total stoppage. And that wasn't long enough either, so Executive Order 20-159 was signed, and it extended the previous orders all the way through August 1st. So basically what they're doing is they're doing 1 month extensions right now. Next came Executive Order 20-181, and it went through September 1st of 2020. Then actually the very final order was signed, and that's 20-211, and it extended all the previous orders through October 1st of 2020. So we've gone from April 2nd through October 1st of 2020, 6 full months of no foreclosures. But this was the last order to stop the foreclosures on the state level. So let's look at some of the numbers for Escambia County and how they kind of transpired during this time period. And we're going to look at April 2020 through September of 2020. And what we're going to be looking at is the number of foreclosures that were stopped or postponed that basically were scheduled but did not happen. So in April, there were 49 proceedings that were stopped. May 25, June there were 33, July there were 30, but it dropped to 15 in August, and there were 19 in September for a grand total of 171 properties. Now, that might not seem like a lot to many people, but for this area and for our population size, this is a really good amount. I mean, this is pushing close to 200 properties that basically did not come out. And this affects investors, and affects real estate agents, and affects taxes, the economy. I mean, it affects so many different things. So 171 properties were stopped through this 6-month period. So let's take a look real quick at the numbers for the last 4 months of the year. And these are the number of properties that are scheduled to go through foreclosure. So in October, the number jumped to 39, then went down to 17, 22 in December, but back up to 31 total properties in the month of January of 2021. So you can see they are coming back, and they are on the rise. And there were a total of 6 orders from this time period that basically went into effect from a governor's state level that stopped the foreclosures in the state of Florida. And these were their orders. That's kind of how it transpired. But let me show you real quick what it looks like on the actual county website where you actually bid on the foreclosures, because this is really interesting. Okay, this is the first page or front page of the Escambia County foreclosure purchase site. You got to remember, nothing is done in person anymore. Everything is online. So if you're going to buy a property in Escambia County, this is where you're going to go to register and get started. All we're going to look at today is we're just going to look for the properties on the auction. And we're going to go back to when this started in April, just so I can show you. And you can get on here online and you can look up this county, your county, any county probably in the country. I know every state's different, but at least for Florida, it's going to be very similar for each county. Okay, so let's get one more. So this is April. And this is when the moratorium first started, and we got our first order to stop foreclosures. And if you click on here, and you'll see how it shows you 4 are scheduled this date, 6 are scheduled this date, 11 are scheduled for this date, 4. Let's just click on 1. And you're going to see this. You're going to see canceled per county. You're going to see this on almost every single one of them. Now, there are going to be a couple that are going to show you that they did go through foreclosure. Not all of these are third-party corporation bank foreclosures. So a lot of these are going to be, well, not a lot of them, but you have situations where HOAs foreclose. You have situations where you have a third-party private mortgage, just like if you sold your home to somebody and did your own owner financing, So not every case will be a bank foreclosure, but if you go through and you look at these months, you're going to see almost every single one of them canceled per county, okay? So you got to be thinking, we've got 6 months of stoppage, okay? Now, we're not a giant county. We average probably anywhere from 30 to 40 to 50 per month. And according to my numbers and calculations, we had 171 properties postponed. Now, maybe out of those 171, a couple squeaked through that were not maybe a typical foreclosure. But for the most part, they've all been canceled. You see cancel per county, cancel per county. So what's happening with these? Well, nothing. Most of these are never going to be saved. Most of these are going to end up going to foreclosure. They're just going to have to wait. They're going to get pushed back. Hopefully, in what I expect to start seeing, which I'll show you in just a second, we're going to see a rise in the number of foreclosures that are actually going through. It opened up back in October. I know it's going to take a couple months to get some of those orders and some of those pushed through and get them back on the docket. How they're doing that, I have no idea, but that's got to be a nightmare. I mean, 170-something properties plus each month from now on, that's adding on to the list. So anyway, let's look at real quick. Let's take a look real quick and just like something in September. So we only got 3 in this date. Okay. Now we had 2 go right here. So this one shows that it was sold to a third party, and this one was sold to a third party. So this is obviously telling me that these properties were not part of the moratorium. They were not. I mean, if I go back and research them, if we research these properties, we'll figure out and find out that these were not part of the actual moratorium, or they would have been stopped because they were inside the dates of. Have you already seen them previous in the early parts of the video? These dates are all protected. So these are obviously not affected and not part of the federal or state moratorium, obviously, or they never would have gone through. Okay, so real quick, let's look. Let's just check out this month, January, and let's just see. So let's just pick a day here. Now, all 3 of these went through. Now, without researching them, I have no way to know if these were actual, what kind of loans these were, or what exactly. But 3 for this day went through. Let's look at a couple more. Okay, we got 3 canceled. Now remember, this doesn't have to be pandemic related. These things get canceled all the time because homeowners file bankruptcy, they get an attorney involved, they go before the judge, they get more time, they get it stopped. I mean, they get postponed and canceled all the time. So now, without researching, we're not going to really know why they're postponed. But all I can tell you is, if you go through and start looking at the month of January, you're going to see a lot more sales go through. And this is what I feel is going to happen over time, that we're going to be getting a lot more properties, because basically, for the most part, now there's still government programs that are under these guidelines, but for the most part, that it's fair game for all the other type of loans that aren't protected. So we're going to see numbers increase, and I think this is just a good example to show kind of what is going to happen. Let's look and see what kind of February. So this isn't a huge month, but it is kind of ramping up. So we got 1, 4, 8, 9, 10, 14. So we have 19 scheduled for February. So, I mean, it's going to come back, and, it will. And hopefully this will give you a little bit more explanation of, kind of what happened in our county, how it affected our numbers, and what I expect to happen here coming up in the future. All right. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you've made it this far, please just hit the subscribe button. You're not going to get bugged. You can hit the bell. You can get notified when I put a new video out, but you're not going to get bugged by me. You're not going to get spam. Hit the subscribe button. Leave me a comment, if you got any questions, please hit me up. I'll be glad to help and answer them. Thanks. Have a great day.